3 degrees above 0 Fahrenheit here in fabulous Fairbanks. I'm still in the
Are you
hotel,
serious?
and yes, it is. And we have today Mal Cooper to talk health and some Facebook ads.
Yeah, I'm here. Where it's not nearly that cold. I was outside just wearing this today, short sleeves and everything. So quite a bit different here.
Are you planting anything yet?
We're just finishing clearing out the garden. We've got all of our seedlings growing inside, so that'll be coming soon.
Okay. What do you got in the garden for this year?
We're going to do cucumbers, a lot of tomatoes. We're going to do a bunch of potatoes, and then lots of things like carrots. And I'm going to get 2 more apple trees this year too. They won't bloom this year probably, but I'll have some more for next year.
Okay. Good deal. Setting the standard for the future of preppers.
Exactly.
Gen X, Y, Z, Q, new, Corona Gen, whatever it is, all of those people will take a lesson from, hey, maybe I should grow my own anything.
I wonder what they'll call it. About 4 years ago, I realized, like, why am I taking care of all of these plants in my yard when they don't grow food? So bit by bit, I've actually been replacing all the trees and shrubs with things that will grow fruit and vegetables for me and stuff like that. Well, mostly fruit, obviously being trees, but.
Nice. And I see Jill's pictures from last year where it's like, hey, we've got a new tomato. Here's our cucumbers. Here's what we're going to do with them.
Yep.
And all great things. I mean, that's my dad has done that his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And you can never be wrong if you have your own source of something fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And things like potatoes will keep forever too. So if you grow lots of potatoes, you just stick them in a cold room in your basement and they're going to be there for a couple of years.
Well, and you can grow potatoes in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yep. I do that too, actually. One year I was just experimenting with things I could grow in buckets, and I had like 3 buckets of potatoes, just like from Home Depot buckets. I drilled some holes in the bottom so they wouldn't fill up with water, so they would drain, and they did great.
Yeah, exactly. You can't miss. So anyway, that's our intro here. It's like the James Bond movie intro. You have that exciting stuff blowing up and James walking away. Hey, and then you get into the real story. So now we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Physical and mental health. I'll start with in the past few days, I've gotten more bad reviews on my books than I have in the last 6 months. And I'm chalking that up to people are just feeling bad and want to take out their angst somewhere. And hey, I hit them with a target on a market and an ad, and they got the book, and it wasn't what they wanted or needed right at this moment in time. And they take it out with, hey, here's your 1-star, you ass, you wrote crap, you're a sexist. I mean, okay, yeah, whatever, man.
Are you getting those on your Alaska ones, or are you getting them on your Cutherian ones?
Cutherian ones, actually.
Oh, really? Wow.
But the ones I've been marketing the most recently. So it's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. I understand that people have a lot of angst out there, and I try to avoid all of that. So trying to keep my own mental health, because in my position now, I've got a lot of people counting on me, and I can't self-destruct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is probably a bad time to look at reviews in general. It's probably just good advice. Just don't look at your reviews right now. You might not like what you see.
But it's not personal. And this is something I've seen some ads where some people have taken pot shots at you. And, and how are you dealing with those kinds of things?
I mean, I've got a pretty thick skin, so in general, I'm okay. Every now and then, one just hits me at the wrong time. I'm tired. It's late. I see some dick coming on, and I'm just like, actually, a really weird thing's been happened in the last month or so. Normally, I always run most of my ads. I have a version running for the UK and a version running for the US. And normally, the UK one, everybody's polite and nice, and the American one, everybody's a bunch of assholes. It's flipped right now. My UK ads have way more people like coming in and just being angry and grouchy and tearing me down than the US ones. It's kind of bizarre, actually.
I think UK is in more dire straits because it's a smaller country, and just the people are feeling really, really bad right now, and sad and afraid.
That's right. And they've got Europe on fire right across the channel there too. So we've got a little bit more of a buffer here. Although I'm pretty close to New York City, and that place is not doing well either right now.
No, but still maintaining focus. What are you doing for your fans?
So yeah, so actually one of the things, ironically, despite what we just talked about, is I deliberately decided not to talk about the virus very much at all. And I had actually I've been thinking about it and following it since January, and I actually went and took down all of my posts on Facebook that I had made about the virus. Because it wasn't like it didn't cause any good conversation. The information was good for people at times, but kind of what I do now is I find other people's posts where they're worried and I give them some good information there rather than having to have my own post about where I've got it. Because once you make a big post with information about it, you got to like curate it and watch out for the crazies and the people telling you it's the 5G network and stuff like that. Like just all sorts of nonsense. So I stopped that. And what I'm trying to do instead is just focus on positive things. And I today I'm on shoot. I just posted what it was, and I've forgotten. This is day 26 of wearing some sort of interesting outfit, and then taking a bunch of pictures of it, putting them up online, and having just a good conversation about the fashion or about the fact I'm able to stand in the middle of my road, and take these pictures and stuff like that. And I'm going to do it until May 4th. Is my current plan, which means I have 36 more days of this to go. And at that point, I'm just going to wear like leggings and t-shirts for a week. But I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
As you should. I'm wearing my cool Alaska sweatshirt and socks because my legs were cold, so I put on socks. I had no intention of putting on pants.
Right.
So
yeah, that's way too much work, right? But I've actually had like a lot of people reach out to me on Messenger telling me that like my posts in the morning are what they look forward to each day because it's always positive and about something fun, and stuff like that. And it's also really helped me. So I was working at a co-working place, which is ironically inside of a Staples up in the Northeast. The Staples, they carved out parts of the buildings and they have like these nice office areas with like a kitchen and podcasting rooms and conference rooms and phone rooms and all sorts of stuff. And we were actually ours was open until last Tuesday. I stopped going last Monday because that's when Massachusetts issued the shelter in place, and the governor's up there saying like, if you don't have to go to work, go in, you probably shouldn't. I'm like, I probably don't have to go in to do this job that I do. So I've actually only been at home now for 6 days. So I'm still like relatively sane compared to folks like you. You've been in your hotel room for what, 16 days? You said now?
Yes. It's magnificent. The but I love the hair and how you've got the dark roots coming out.
Yeah.
In solidarity with all the rest of us. I mean, look at this is insane. I was actually thinking about shaving it. I'm like, I'm going to shave my head. And
I think that would actually look good on you, Craig. I think a shaved head would work for you.
I'm a salad spoons baby, and people who aren't of the '60s probably don't know what that means.
I don't.
It means when I was born, the doctor used the salad spoons to grab my head and pull me out to be born.
Oh, right, the tongs, yeah.
Yes. So I have salad spoon indents on the side of my head. I probably could have been smart, but I had my head squeezed to be born. And it's just how they did it. You didn't go in and she's in labor, she'll be in labor. No, you're going to have a baby. We're having a baby right now, and so that's how they did it. And
wow.
So I've got these dents, so it makes it look like a little bit of a Klingon head. I've got a ridge, and I guess
I think you should roll with it. You should learn how to like do some makeup to accentuate it and get like Klingon forehead going on.
Well, it's coming. It's coming.
You come out on stage at 20 books with like full Klingon head.
I see Lawrence is online here. He would be my biggest fan if I could pull that off, especially if it was natural. And I can honestly say that I was born this way.
That's true, right?
I didn't gestate this way, but I was born this way.
That's right. You came out that way.
Yeah.
I was going to say before we segued all the way to Klingon head that a thing that helps me, and this may be different for everybody because you're not wearing pants, but you're still being terribly productive, is that it creates putting on the outfit and getting ready every day sort of helps me create this feeling of this is a job I'm going to and I have work to do. And then actually at the end of the day, at around like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, I actually do change. And I just change in like a pair of leggings and a t-shirt type of thing. Cause I'm trying to like still keep myself on this rhythm of I work during the day and in the evening I relax and hang out with my family. And I feel like having some sort of pattern and rhythm is what a lot of us are going to need to find to get through this and stay sane and still be productive.
And that's day shift people. I'll tell you that when I retired from the Marine Corps, I thought I retire We bought a house that my retirement covered all of it and all the bills. We had money in the bank. All was good. And I said,
Hmm.
I'm going to do nothing. I'm just going to go play golf every day and do the. And you know what? After 2 months, I found that if I had anything to do, I was taking longer and longer to do it
Hmm.
because I just didn't have. I mean, I'd lost my mojo,
Yeah.
and so I went to law school to give myself something to do, and I got so much more done while going through law school than when I was completely retired, trying not to do anything.
Right.
So I think humans love routine, just like dogs.
Hmm.
Cats eschew routine to some degree.
Yeah.
They get hungry every hour, regardless, even if they've just been fed. So,
I
but
saw this hilarious meme just talking about cats and dogs. It was this conference table, and there was all these dogs sitting around it with this one cat on the end. And the dogs are like, "Our plan has worked. Our humans are staying home with us all the time now." And the cat was like, "Why wasn't my department consulted?"
yeah, I was not consulted on this. Yeah,
Of
the
course, they don't want that.
dogs around the world are pleased to high heaven,
Oh
and
yeah,
they're not feeling guilty when they get 9 walks in a day.
not in
So
the least.
now, we've had somebody comment about being trapped in an apartment with no running water, and this is this is the challenge. We were talking about, grow your own vegetables.
Hmm.
You can't grow your own water, especially if you're in an apartment building.
That's
It
true.
it's a significant challenge. And the hoarders came out and bought all the water initially. I think much of it has been replaced.
Yeah,
But that's also, hey, you're in an apartment, you got no running water, and you can't buy any. What do you do? I can understand that, of course, that's going to raise your stress levels through the roof.
totally.
And
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm in a hotel here, and I was looking at them like, if we lose power, I mean, am I going to go sit in my truck and run it so I can jam some words and do some stuff? But I mean, there's still, what do you do?
yeah,
So we feel for you. We don't know what we can do for you, and we just hope that your apartment complex gets the water back on, because
yeah,
that is
for sure.
critical infrastructure.
I guess to anyone who still has water and you're worried about it, I wonder if you could just buy like a lot of empty jugs and just fill them with tap water.
Well, hurricane prep means fill your bathtub with water,
Hmm.
and so you have a water source, and you can ladle it out to flush your toilets, because the sewer systems will still work because
Yeah,
they're more gravity driven. And the so yes, people in Florida are just fine,
yeah,
except that they're older, and it's hot and humid there now. But
that's true. Yeah, we've got a pool in our backyard, so I've got 30,000 gallons of water back out there. So I'll be all right. It'll take some boiling though before you could drink it, but it'll work for other things.
yeah, that's right. That's right. No bacteria in it. But yeah, Florida. I lived in Florida for 3 years.
Oh well.
I was stationed at McDill in Tampa, and what people are reveling over who live there right now are the fact that you don't have a Buick in the left lane going 20 miles an hour under the speed limit. So people are probably extremely happy with that.
That's true.
So
Yeah, it
so
is. It is low traffic right now. I mean, I guess like it's those are like weird silver linings, but it's like, hey, take the good where you can get it, right? You know?
yeah, and we're on complete lockdown here in Alaska, government mandated lockdown. So same as and I was surprised to see when they announced it. They said, yeah, and that makes 22 states now that are on complete lockdown. And I thought, only 20. I thought
I
Alaska would be
know,
one of
right?
the last holdouts. Only 22.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm happy to see that the government is not exercising complete authoritarian control, but I'm not happy that people are forcing them to exercise complete authoritarian control by
I
not
know, right? Yeah, that happened.
voluntarily doing.
That happened in Massachusetts. The governor was like, I don't want to shut down everything until we have to, but I need everybody else to be responsible and not have large gatherings and whatnot. And then, sure enough, that weekend, everybody was at the clubs, and there's like lines down the street, people trying to get clubs to party and whatnot. And he's like, okay, guys, I gave you the option to be responsible, but now
Yep,
we're going to
yep,
do it the hard way.
yeah, same up here. But so now that we're all trapped inside, when I get back to my property, I am like you. You've got a pool in the backyard.
Mhm.
You've got a reprieve. I have like 12 acres, so I can go on long walks, go on,
Mhm.
well, snowshoe walks right now, and do something and never leave my property. So
Yeah.
it's that's not an issue for me. Apartment dwellers. So what do you recommend for people to stay physically fit?
Well, I mean, the I'm kind of like you, where I can go for a walk. Although I don't like to go for a lot of walks right close to where we live because we live not too far from a highway. Although I guess my normal concern is I'd be breathing in a lot of exhaust, but I guess I'm not going to be doing that right now. So I guess that's less of a concern. Um, and I'm a bit of a germaphobe, so I wouldn't do things like recommend walking up and down the stairwell because stairwells aren't usually that clean, and you
Well,
have no idea what you're going to touch in there,
and they don't
or
have ventilation like
how good the air
the rest of the building.
circulation is either. Yeah. But I think I know a number of people who are doing things like, so I've got a treadmill desk, so I actually do some time on the treadmill desk, and that helps me keep going. I haven't been using it quite as much because it's in the basement, and I just don't want to be in the basement in wintertime because it's so dark. So probably early next week I'm going to move it upstairs and replace the desk in my office actually with this treadmill desk. Um, I know a couple of friends too. What they're doing is their yoga instructors are still doing yoga. They're just doing it all over Zoom. So they actually like have a scheduled time, which is important,
Mm-hmm.
and they set up their laptop or whatever on their on the couch and like that, and they do their yoga, and the yoga instructor's on Zoom and is watching where you do the moves, making sure everything's done properly. And I think that's really important, the fact that it's on a schedule. So it's not like oh, I may or may not do yoga. It's like, no, it's a thing that I'm doing because it's on my calendar, and there's peer pressure and all that, because peer pressure is actually a really good thing. People a lot of times worry about peer pressure and treat it like it's a bad thing, but we all know, like any writers who've done a writing sprint with other people knows that the peer pressure of knowing that in 20 minutes you report your word count back to this group actually causes you to focus. You're like, I'll go on Facebook after we're done the sprint because I don't want to look like a chump and not have done any words during the sprint. So it's okay to leverage some of those things about yourself to force yourself to be productive, or to force yourself to exercise, in the case of doing that, like doing the yoga, or even just getting together with a group of friends, and saying, okay, we're all going to meet 11 o'clock on Zoom, and we're going to work out for a bit.
And it's For the Words. Shout out to For the Words, number 4, for what they do for people to manage sprints, and they gamify your word count.
Okay, I've actually not used that. I've been using Discord.
Okay.
One of the Discord servers, and there's a writer. It's called WriterBot, and you start an event, and then you start sprints, and everybody joins the sprint with their word count. And then when you're done, you type in what your word count is, and it gives you the total, and it also gives you experience and whatnot. It's like a little bit gamified. Like you have XP. Right now, I'm winning, so I'm not moving off to another platform, because I have the highest level. So.
Well, you said you're averaging about 5,000 words a day now, which is
5 to 6,
way less than your max, but much healthier.
Yeah, there was in 2018, in August of 2018, I wrote 240,000 words, and I was at Disney in Florida for a week that month as well. And I remember the 3 weeks, well, actually it was a 5-week month, give or take a bit. The 4.5 weeks ish that I wasn't at Disney, I just sat in a chair in my basement and wrote the entire time. So it was like I didn't see sunlight, I didn't see other people. I got up and I wrote until I fell asleep in the chair. And I'm like, I never want to do this again. So I made a big change at the end of 2018 to do less and try and make more with doing less.
That's a good philosophy. So making more with less, with fewer words, means advertising, means marketing.
Yep.
So let's talk a Facebook ad. What do you recommend somebody who's just starting out? Mark Dawson said Facebook ads are kind of killing it right now because there's a lot of market, and the costs are going down. So and mine are not spending anywhere near what I thought they would. So give us a hint.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things to think about when you're writing is that a release effectively functions as an ad because you're getting it out there. It's new information. It's another title. But you can do the same thing without releasing a book, just by upping your ad spend. And if you think about what it costs you to produce a book, for me, it's about $1,500 to $2,000. If I drop that much money advertising another series, I'll probably make like $8,000 to $10,000 off of that. So when you think about the money you spend, and especially the time you spend creating a book, if you can't get a book written right now because you're at home with a bunch of kids running around you constantly, and you've discovered that, wow, there's a lot more dishes to do when everybody's at home all the time and stuff like that, that might be something to do, to think about, like, instead of the money I was going to put into producing a book, why don't I put all that money into an ad? And I find that Facebook ads are typically a little bit more dangerous than AMS ads because, one, Amazon doesn't really spend all your money, and Facebook will typically gladly spend all of your money. And the other thing is that Amazon AMS ads are only showing ads to people who are interested in books, so it's always kind of like a safe bet. But right now, I mean, everybody is spending a lot of time on Facebook. And even normally, people spend more time on Facebook than looking at book pages on Amazon. But I've seen my ads, even I have some ads that were up at like 45, 50 cents a click because I have 95 books in my series now. So even if I'm paying 50 cents a click, I'm actually still making a pretty good profit on those ads. And sometimes I do that strategically because I'm trying to hit certain audiences that I know are more expensive, but I know will be more likely to read through the whole thing. Right now, all of my ads are under 15 cents a click. They've all just gone down.
My God.
Yeah, it's so some of my ads are one quarter. A couple of them are a quarter of what they were costing before. So this is the time to if you're doing ads, ramp up your spend. And if you've been scared to do ads, this is the time to experiment because you're not going to spend a lot of money doing it. Versus other times when you might spend like $5 and only get like 20 or 30 clicks. You could spend $5 now, maybe get 100 clicks. Yeah. So you're looking at getting a lot more bang for your buck by playing around. And the thing I always recommend to start with is just come up with something like a blurb and a single picture that captures the feeling you want for your book. It doesn't have to be like exactly something from your book, and start there and put it up, do some research on how to build audiences. My book, the book that Jill and I wrote, Help My Facebook Ads Suck, is actually free still. So if you go to our website, thewritingwives.com, and go to our books, you can get that book for free. If it helps you, you can throw us some money. If it doesn't help you, you can just say, screw you. and that'll show you how to build the audiences. And this is the perfect time to do it because it's also a thing you can do while you're being interrupted a lot, is create ads and watch ads and whatnot. So you don't need a lot of dedicated focus to do it. And you're going to also see, normally you would take sometimes like 2 or 3 days to see if an ad's going to work. Right now, you'll find out in a day if an ad's going to work because they're getting that much activity.
Geez, that is way cool.
Yeah.
Can somebody post that comment, thewritingwives.com on for us so people can see what Mal was talking about?
Let's see.
Studio apartment in New York City with a boyfriend. Yeah.
Is someone advertising that? What?
Maybe not.
It's almost like, I've got an apartment. There's a boyfriend here if you're looking for a place to stay.
Or you're looking for a boyfriend to move in with you.
Yeah.
Got one. Don't need him.
This would be a bad time to try and... I kind of do feel bad for people that are in relationships or home situations that aren't ideal. I hope that you find ways to talk to people other than that person as much as possible. I think that's a big thing is humans are social creatures. So reaching out to other humans is going to be really important. In fact, I'm doing a thing.
It's like you don't even know any writers.
What? I missed this. Sorry.
It's like you don't even know any writers are social creatures and must be with people.
Well, I think it's different, when you can go out and have the social interaction when you want it versus not getting it at all. But you're right. Yeah. I am a little bit different than most writers in that I'm like one of the rare extroverts.
I love people.
To the point where I'm starving for human contact so much that tomorrow at 1:00, I'm actually having just a Zoom where anyone can join and we'll just chat because I'm like, I need people. I need to talk to people.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
Yeah, no, I have no idea how. It's either gonna be like me and one other person, or it's gonna be me and 10,000 people, and be like, okay, time to set a limit.
I'm in my hotel room, 16 days right now, and still counting, and I get annoyed when the phone rings because people are calling me.
Oh my God! I would quite literally be in that back corner up above you, tucked into the roof, just
against the window, seeing people in the parking lot. People, hey, wave to me, acknowledge that I exist.
I'd be Rapunzel, rolling down about the wigs all tied together.
Yeah. So we're back to, we get distracted easy. Facebook ads, and so what kind of ad? Somebody's first starting out. What kind of ad would you recommend for them to practice with?
Well, I think it does. It depends on what your market is, because you actually typically find that men and women respond to different types of ads, and it also depends on the genre a little bit. So if your ad is like an epic adventure if your story is an epic adventure kind of story, like a big space story or something like Indiana Jones, some sort of adventure like that, then you really actually want to write kind of a plot-based ad where you're talking about, here's the setting, it's 1938, and the Nazis are trying to get stuff, and here's Indiana Jones, and he's going to stop them from getting the Ark of the Covenant, and you want to write an ad like that. But if you're writing an ad, if your book is more about characters, and maybe it's a romance, maybe it's like a ghost story or something like that, then you're much more interested in writing an ad that talks about these particular characters and what their problems and foils might be and the struggle that they're going to have almost as people versus against the setting. So that's a really big thing you got to think about when you're writing your first ad. And then there's something that I always do too, is like, there's a lot of different ways to do ads on Facebook. You can like do these dynamic creative ones. You can do A/B tests. You can do slideshows. You can do videos and whatnot. I feel like it's really important to really get comfortable with doing just a single image ad first. And like I mentioned before, is a lot of people get really hung up trying to find an image that looks exactly like a scene in their book or something like that. But you don't need to do that. You just want something that has the iconic feeling of it. Like if you saw an ad, like say your book's about dragons, and you see, maybe there's no big red dragons. Maybe all your dragons are green and purple. But there's this picture of this red dragon, and he's flying towards a castle that looks amazing and whatnot. Use it. It doesn't have to match your book exactly, just to sort of capture the iconic feel that you want, and also in theory, hopefully you're writing the kind of books that you would read. So you would basically say, like, if I saw that, I would want to pick up the book. And that's sort of like your gauge for that sort of thing.
And that's no words, just an image, right?
Yeah. No words, just the image. And it's kind of funny, like, because a lot of us, we think about ads from newspapers, or we think about ads on the internet where it's like a box and there's an image and text and all that on it. We're used to thinking that all the copy has to be with the image, because that's what newspapers and magazines and much of the advertising on the internet has been for some time. But Facebook gives you spots for text above and below. So you sort of have to reframe your thinking in that way, that you don't have to have text on the picture, because you've got 3 spots where text can go above and below the picture. So, don't fret about it thinking like, oh, but I have to have text in the picture to explain it. Like, no, you have these big sections where you can explain everything right around that.
Well, and BookBub ads with that 300 pixel limit, and you do need some text on it.
Yes.
Those are severe, significant challenges.
Yeah, those ones are. And that's one of the things too you have to think about. It's like less about, when you're doing an ad, it's less about, what am I trying to say? Well, it's always about trying to connect with a human on the other side, but you still have to do it within the paradigm that the ad platform sets up for you. And that's something that sometimes takes a little bit of work to get around. You're like, the type of ad that works really, really well on Twitter will fail miserably on Facebook, although no ads work well on Twitter anymore. So that's a terrible example, but
yeah.
The picture.
But those Facebook ads, you play with them. The targeting is key, but you can adjust your targeting. You're not so strapped into targeting. What's the one thing you cannot change on a Facebook ad?
Well, it used to be that, so when you're on the ad tab, or when you're editing the actual ad itself, the ad, of course, is where the image, the headline, the description text, and all that happens. It used to be that you could change only the link or the title. And the title is something you see for administrative purposes. And they changed that not too long ago now, so you can't even change the link anymore. So if you change the link, the ad then loses what's called social proof. And social proof is all of the likes, shares, comments, etc. All that stuff goes poof, and you've effectively started a new ad. So if you do feel like you want to change any of that copy or the image and whatnot, make a new ad. Don't mess with that existing ad.
Because you don't copy, don't clone or stuff like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a tool for duplicating the ads. You just duplicate it and then start again.
Okay. In the text above, there's a limit before you click read more, and you don't want them to have to click read more. So what's that limit on text above?
You do want them to click read more.
On the above part?
The reason for that is, you want to make sure that you ever heard the phrase above the fold?
Yep. I use that a lot.
Newspaper days, when you have a newspaper sitting there, you wanted the hook to be above the fold. So if you do want your hook, whatever's going to grab their attention, to be above that read more. But the thing that Facebook is built entirely upon showing people stuff that they want to see. And the best way to tell if people want to see things is to see what humans are doing. And we've all learned this too. We're not interested in what robots tell us is interesting. We're interested in what humans tell us what's interesting. That's why comments that have lots of likes and shares, posts with lots of likes and shares, Facebook shows them more, because it's like, okay, humans are interested in this. Clicking read more shows interest in an ad. And Facebook and it actually causes Facebook to rank that ad higher as something that people are interacting with. So
Okay.
the read more link is the same as sharing and liking, in that it's
Oh,
an
okay.
activity on the ad that means people are interested.
How much more text do you put then?
Um, I kind of experiment. I don't make it too wordy because like you really do want people to get to an action before too long.
Yep.
So I maybe write something that would be 3 times as long as what the text above would be. However,
Okay.
I know people have done crazy things like take the first chapter of their book and stick it in there and have ads that convert really, really well by doing that too. So this is one of those things where every piece of copy, every book, every audience is going to have differences, and there's no one way to do it. You have to experiment. You have to play around and learn what's going to work for you.
That's interesting. That's well, you got to have confidence in your first chapter then. And
You certainly do. Yeah, that's for
if your
sure.
first chapter sucks, you're going to pay Facebook a lot of money to tell you that. So,
Yeah, which is
but they
why I
won't
don't
tell you
recommend
directly.
doing that for someone starting out. If you're starting out, learn how to do it with shorter copy first. Um,
And
and
this is not.
the other
And now is the time to practice.
Exactly, yeah, because you're going to be able to get a lot of practice in for not a lot of money. Another thing to think about too, and I learned this. I mentioned this before. Some people have heard this before, but I learned this from reading the feedback on my ads and sort of like putting on my thick skin and going and reading what people said. And sometimes I have comments where people said, "Wow, if this is the prose I could expect in the book, there's no way I'm going to pick this thing up." So once I picked myself up the floor and dusted myself off, I realized that people that look at ads, especially from indie authors, are looking at it as a reflection of the quality of the book.
That's
So
right.
pay attention to how well you're writing that, but also think that this is a chance for you to have your prose shine. So there's 2 ways that you might be selling a book. One, you might be selling the book to readers based on the fact that this is an interesting book with a captivating premise and amazing characters. And you want to make sure you tell them those things in your ad. But on the flip side, if you're running a sale, tell them about the price, because that's what you're selling on a sale.
Yeah.
And the copy you use for telling about a price can be very different. You're gonna be like short and abrupt and like, here's the thing, here's how long it's running for. You should get it now because it's going to go away. But you would not write a short, bursty copy when you're trying to sell the book on the other merits of the story.
The quality of the story, and that's one thing I can't emphasize enough. I've hurried through some ads and had a typo in the first sentence, and holy crap! And I just kill them. You just pay the price, you kill it, and start over because you can't do that.
Yeah. I've got one ad that actually has that, and I've left it up because somehow it's performing really well. And I've also been running that ad since like October of 2016. So it's sort of like my baby. But so I keep it going just because. But yeah, it's got a typo in the very first line. I look at it all the time. But it's got something like it's got like 3,000 comments, and like 40,000 shares. It's got stupid numbers on it.
Yeah.
But that one, my ego is causing me to keep this up. But the other ones I get rid of.
Yeah, my best ad is 2 lines at the top, so everything's above the fold,
Mm-hmm.
and like humanity fights for freedom or something like that below. So really, really short text above and below with the artwork from the second book in the series.
Okay.
And it's a red and brown palette. So it gives that post-apocalyptic feel, even though it's science fiction adventure. However, they're shooting guns and there's a floating turtle. So it really draws people in because they're like, is that a turtle? So it's the same thing. Over 1,000 likes, like 1,500 shares. And if somebody shares your ad, that's the ultimate win.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Because now you're getting it for free.
Yeah. And when someone shares, you don't pay for any of the interactions on the shared version that thing done.
That's right.
The other thing that's probably helping you there too is you got to think about where your ad's showing. It's showing on Facebook, which is white and blue. So that ad is very contrasty and stands out a lot from Facebook itself. And that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. And we tested it. James Baldwin did a great job looking at various things because the first one is blue, shades of blue with some black to highlight. And I think that's a better piece of artwork.
Yeah.
But it's not as good. It's nowhere near as good an ad, even though everything was identical except those 2 images and that brown palette. So we stalled the other one after a year, and we're just letting the brown one run because it's running like a champ.
Yeah, and that's the thing you got to do too. Is you guys sometimes you'll make an ad or you'll make some ad copy and be like, "This is amazing. This is like a work of art," and it just doesn't work. And you just have to call your baby ugly sometimes, and deal with the fact that it may be amazing, but it's not doing what you want it to do. So you got to kill it and figure out something else that does work.
Yeah, and it works great on a cover, But and something else, I have all my artwork without typography that I
Mhm.
can then use for ads. So I have the full artwork, and so I can cut out various sections. And I've
Yep.
done that. Pick out a various sub scene within the cover, and use that. And it is a way you have to catch the eye. And we always talk about, hey, cover is your first the first thing anybody sees of your book,
Mhm.
and that's that piece of artwork. But it doesn't have to avoid the synopsis mentality of it has to represent my best scene in the book. No, not at all. Like you
Yep.
said, it's a book about red dragons, and you got a purple dragon on in your ad. Who cares?
Yeah.
Hey, and you explained it very, very well there. It's I like this style of book. This would have attracted me to look further. That's all you need. Those are your
Exactly.
two points to look at. So
Yep.
above the fold, experiment. I use the 2 to 3 lines. I really try to keep no read more, but I want them to comment and like and do things below. And I've heard that likes aren't as good as if you can get a comment, then that's what you
Yeah.
really want.
Yeah. Comments are the be all end all, which is why
Okay.
sometimes when people are jerks on my ads, I just start some back and forth with them because I want the interaction because Facebook doesn't care if it's good news or bad news. They just see his interaction on the ad,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, when people like this ad, it's engaging. I will show it more often for less money is what Facebook decides. And it's actually be arguing with someone about something stupid.
Yeah. And that's I've had some negative comments and I've deleted some and I'm like, let me just leave these.
Mhm.
I like most of the comments. I'll say, hey, thanks for your kind words. I'll throw stuff in like, hey, did you see that? The flying turtle also swims. I mean, just various things,
I
and
like
uh,
that.
and it helps. It helps the
Mhm.
engagement. That's you get a lot more of them, and also every time you click and answer a comment, then it bumps it back up in the feed, just like we do on 20 books to 50K.
Yep.
Hey, throw in a new comment, and it bumps it to the top of the feed.
Yeah, and you're also more likely to get them then to reply to your comment, which does the same thing again.
Yeah. It's a win. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
not trolling for bad comments because if people scroll and the only thing they see is you're such an asshole, maybe people want to avoid you.
Yes,
So
exactly.
there's a certain amount of win. It's not like all press is good press. There's some press that really is bad press. So
Mhm. I do have one of my ads where I got in a couple of I was having a bad week and I kind of got in some arguments with some people over one of my ads. And this guy actually commented, he's like, I'm gonna read this book because I love this author's snark. He's like, he loved how I was trolling people back in the ad. He said he's gonna
spunking
read
them
the
out.
book because of that. So you never know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's I wouldn't go with that, but
I wouldn't, I wouldn't recommend that as a default way of operating. No, but
there,
it's like,
there you are.
have you ever followed the Wendy's Twitter account?
I haven't been on Twitter in like 3 years.
Oh, so the official Wendy's Twitter account trolls everybody all the
Oh,
time.
that's right. I've seen
Yeah,
that. I've
yeah,
seen that.
just mocks people and makes fun of the other shops and stuff like that. So, and it seems to be working really well for them. So
Yeah,
you
people
never know.
whoever's running that is a genius
It
because their
really,
trolling is genius level.
yeah, it
Seriously.
is.
Yeah, the especially and as people copy it over to Facebook, that's where I see it. Especially when uh, what McDonald's lost their branding court case in Europe somewhere
Oh,
on Big
really?
Mac. Yeah, so Burger King changed their menu options to better than the Big Mac. That was like on their menu, like almost like the Big Mac, but tastes good. And I mean, oh my God, they trolled him so hard.
That's awesome. I love it. The flying turtle also swims. That is a good super spy passphrase. I like that.
Yeah, so that's the flying turtle is a big win. Is a big win for that ad.
Hmm.
Um, geez, I had it just a second ago.
Come on, Craig. You can do it.
I know, it's so hard. I'm here all alone, and I like it. Um,
Isn't it also like 5 in the morning for you?
no, it's 6:39 now. I
Oh,
usually
okay.
open the curtains so you can see the sunrise kind of behind me, even though my windows face north, so you're not going to see sunrise until June, and then you'll never see it set because it's just the sun does loop de loops in the northern sky
Yeah.
in
I
the
I
summer
want
here.
to I want to see that sometime, but I don't think I want to live there.
Yeah, it's 24 hours of daylight. It'll mess you up if you're not tired enough to sleep like a champ.
I believe it. Yeah.
And blackout curtains. I think
Yeah.
they've got double thick curtains here, so it really doesn't matter.
That
Um,
makes sense.
so Facebook ads, we're there. We don't want to do a synopsis. So 3-line test. So you can have 3 lines or whatever will fit above the fold. And then sometimes you do want them to click more. And it's okay. This is Facebook. You can run 2 identical ads. It takes you almost no time. Once you target your audience, what kind of targeting do you use? I know you used to use some movies and TV shows.
I do. I do a lot of ways to target my audiences now, but starting out, it all depends a bit on your genre. Some genres, for example, like urban fantasy, have very few authors that you can target. Because it's a relatively newish kind of genre, so there aren't like authors who've been writing for urban fantasy for the last 40 or 50 years. Like I could target Isaac Asimov and Heinlein and all sorts of golden age sci-fi authors.
Yep.
So in that scenario, targeting a lot of TV shows works really well. And then making sure you add an extra section where in your audience where you can say like narrow the audience, and you add in like books and free and ebooks and Amazon Kindle and stuff like that to narrow it down to people who are readers.
Yep.
The other ways you can do it in certain genres, one that I found is kind of interesting is romance works. Romance flips around depending on what people are talking about. So sometimes in romance, if you target authors, you'll do really well. And other times authors, like everybody's targeting the authors and it's really expensive. When that happens, you flip and use generic terms, like just like targeting romance and stuff like that. And you'll actually get lower clicks. And then someone says, hey, look, romance is getting lower clicks. And everybody goes and targets that. And you'll just switch back to the authors. It's like this ongoing thing. Because the romance authors are all hounds. Like they're like always watching everything, always on the trends, figuring stuff out. So when one of them realizes something's working and they share it, it spreads like wildfire. And you've got to now figure out something else. You're like, oh crap. It's like me with the spaceship ass. Once I told all the sci-fi authors that putting spaceship ass on your ads will work really well, then boom, like it didn't work nearly as well anymore. It was like I kid you not, after I released my first ad books, my cost per click doubled in the next month and a half.
Yeah, and that's what Mark or Chris Fox said about the military sci-fi. After he wrote his Right to Market, it just flooded the market with military sci-fi.
Yeah,
but then again, we're looking good mil sci-fi. It did not flood the market with that. I mean, there was a lot of books, but it was an opportunity. What I wanted to talk about was the hooks. What have you seen from the author comparisons? Like Jack Reacher meets John Milton.
I think it's useful in that it gives people an idea of what things are going to be like. So if you have a very small number of words and you're going to say it's X meets Y, or it's like this but with a twist of that gives readers a very quick idea of what they're looking at. It does typically those kinds of ads require a lot more monitoring because you're going to get people invariably that show up and say, no, it's not, or that's stupid, or I hate both those characters, so I'm not reading this book at all, But
there's a lot of people who like those characters, so you're finding a certain demographic.
I think that actually comes to a really good point, is that it's okay if your marketing and your brand turns people away if you don't want them as your readers. Like for me, for example, I'm always running around in cat suits and looking crazy and stuff like that. And that happens a lot in my books too. It's wild, it's zany, it's like everybody's every gender all the time. It's all sorts of stuff. I've the only tactical use of 2.5 orgies ever used in a story, stuff like that. Like there's wild stuff going on. And there's a lot of readers who won't like what I write. It's just not going to work for them. It doesn't fit their moral code or whatever that might be. So it's good that my brand and my presentation keeps them away, because all they're going to do is 1-star my books and stuff like that. And I don't want that. And I also don't even want them to click, because that clicking costs me money. I want people who are interested in the topics I have to click. So it's actually okay if you were to run an ad that says it's like these two things meet this thing, and people are like, that sucks. You're like, well, thank you for the boost on my post by adding a comment. That actually helps me, and thank you for not clicking, because that would have cost me money. So it's not the end of the world if that happens, actually.
Okay. What about some other hooks that because people like somebody, this character and this character had a baby, that's this book, or just like the one I don't like is, if you like J.K. Rowling, you'll love me. I think
Yeah,
that's that
I
comes
would agree
across
that
as a little too pretentious.
it is, and it's also like that's actually like I mentioned in my last 20 books talk speech is not to be prescriptive in your language, and that's a prescriptive sort of thing. You're like telling someone how they're going to feel, and a
Yeah,
lot of people don't like to be told what they feel and what they like. Our immediate reaction is like, you're not the boss of me, you know. So whenever you do want to make when you want to make comparisons like that, you always want to make sure your language and such is phrased in such a way that you're not going to start an argument. Like it's if you like this kind of story, you may be interested in, and you don't want to be too
yeah.
soft because you don't want to be too soft to sell, but you want to think about that. Are there ways I could say these things while not telling people what their interests are going to be? Another way that you could do it, this one I do every now and then, but you got to have a really thick skin to do it, is you got to say, is MD Cooper the next Isaac Asimov? You can make a question ad like that. And that's like almost the entire text on that particular ad. And I got a lot of sales off of it. And eventually I stopped it because I couldn't deal with the comments I was getting. But
I did see that one. You
yeah,
must target the hell out of me because
I
I see all
probably
of your
did. Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I did see that one. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty, to use the term, ballsy. And, and I wasn't sure how it was going to convert because I saw it was almost 50-50 on the, oh yeah, I love it. I love that